Oi, what's the best game where you get to eat pie? What's the best game where you play a dead guy? Eh? You'll find out in VG247's podcast. Here, what's the best game where you swing from a rope? And what's the best game where you batter the Pope? Assassin's Creed 2. Like I said, you will find out in this here podcast. Hello and welcome to, what's it called? The best game podcast from VG247. It's a show where people have to argue about a game. Who are you? Introduce yourselves. I don't know who any of you are, evidently.
Do you remember when we had this little chat a minute ago and I said why this is an important episode of the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And we're still carrying on with this, are we?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Yeah.
All right, good. Carry on then.
I don't know who you are, Tom, so you need to introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Tom.
Yeah, what do you do on this so I know for later?
I mostly just argue, review
Right.
about stuff.
Oh, right, okay. And who's this other geezer? Other geezer with the crew cut. You got the regulation haircut, but not the regulation beard, so you're half in, half out of the armed forces at the moment.
Hello, I'm Connor. I write for the website that we work on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Writing for a website, is that a job, is it?
Yes.
Is that what people do for a living these days?
I'm afraid so, yeah.
That's fine then. What's this other fella? This other geezer? This brill cream tosser at the bottom of my screen.
James Billcliffe, Guides Editor.
Guides Editor?
Yeah.
You're a Sherpa?
Yeah, I get lost in the crevices around Mount Everest, professionally.
What a gaggle of twats we've got here. Right, so I've been sent here to host this because the actual host, it's his birthday, right? When this goes out, it's his birthday, right?
Yeah.
So he don't have time. He's not got time to do this because his head's elsewhere. He's got bunting to put up and all sorts. He blow up your own balloons when you're 40. Nobody does that for you when you're that age, right? So he's got to blow up his own balloons.
Yeah.
Do all the invites. By the way, nobody's coming round, but he's got to do all the invites anyway. And he don't want to talk to anyone because he's feeling very existential. So he sent me instead, right? You might call it a form of mental illness if you want. That's up to you, right?
Do you know if we're being invited to the birthday?
No, you're definitely not being invited because, as it was put to me, I want to remove myself from the toxic elements that have been plaguing my life on a daily basis. So I imagine, Connor, you're not going to be invited, actually.
Oh, okay.
So this podcast thing, it's all about. It's the best game that is aged like a fine wine, right? So I'm guessing you've all got something from, a few years back, which is going to be riveting.
What's your name?
I haven't thought of that yet.
No.
Right?
Just realised we haven't got a name for you. I don't want to accidentally call you your wrong name.
Bernard, right? Bernie East, yeah? Right?
Right.
Leave it out, etc., right?
Is this... So people can choose if they want to listen to the rest of this or not. Is Bernie hanging around the whole show?
I don't care if people can listen to it or not. I don't mind. But this is going to be it for the whole half hour.
Yeah.
If they don't want to deal with it, then they know what to do. Right?
Is this, Jim? To be clear, is this because I said you've got to come up with some new ideas? Is this it?
No. Nothing to do with that. No, nothing to do with that.
Bernard.
Nothing to do with that. It's just imagine, right? Here's how to think about it, right? Imagine you didn't want to do something, and so you just check out, and just your body just turns up in your place, but you're elsewhere mentally, right? We're on another plane, right? You're enjoying life somewhere in the Elysian fields, frolicking around in the grass, right? While your corporeal form does your job. Think about it like that, right?
Right.
Try and keep it light, keep it brief, because I've got to pick her up at 3:00 from her fucking clarinet lesson. Care. Right, Tom, what is the best game that has aged like a fine wine? Don't be a knob about it, but you've got your 5 minutes starting right now.
My choice, Bernie, is an old game, obviously, like you suggested it might be.
Yeah.
Because I think really, if you go anything more recent than 10 years, you've automatically lost this one, I reckon.
I mean, it stands to reason that it needs to have aged in order to have aged. Yeah.
I thought about going a real clever answer for this, in that I don't like wine, right? So I was thinking like something that's old and is just still shit. But I thought that'd be bad. It doesn't fit the spirit of this podcast, does it? As you know, you've listened to this before, I assume.
I've been given the highlights, the cliff notes. Yeah.
But anyway, I actually thought I'm pretty sure I'm going to win, right, with this choice.
Yeah.
This game pretty much has I don't think it's aged really much at all, and even today we're getting new games pretty much riffing off it entirely, and it's Doom. And you could say Doom, you could say Doom 2, you could say Doom 64. All of the classic Dooms play just as well now as they did then. And because of the recent last few years at least, rise in what they call the boomer shooter, Doom still feels relatively new, even though it is very old. Like I played it on like a very old, what was then a new PC, but now is like, I don't know when Doom came out. Probably about 30 years ago, was it? I don't know.
1990.
It's 1990, 92, 93.
So, 20, how many years is that?
Around about the fall of the Berlin Wall, wasn't it?
Was that 34 years? Is that right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Something like that.
So I played it first. Doom was shareware, freeware, whatever they used to call it. So you got like a couple of levels, or the first, what do they call it, act or something, chapter. And you could play through that, and it was on a cover disc, or when you just play it for free, and then it would go, if you want to buy more of this, send your money here, and we'll give you the full thing. But I really got into Doom on the PlayStation, because they did a really good port to the PlayStation. It worked really well on the controller. It worked really well. And it had really cool music that you didn't get in the PC game. Had a bit of extra fancy lighting effects and stuff, I think. But any version of Doom, I guess... Maybe not any.
I'm not accepting the PlayStation version of Doom. The only reason that worked as a first-person shooter is because you couldn't look up or down. Can you imagine trying to play that on, trying to play a proper shooter, proper 3D shooter on controller you can't look up on or down with?
Yeah, that makes it fine for the PlayStation.
You can't look up or down on a PlayStation. That's the only reason it worked. Therefore,
it was perfect the PlayStation, because you didn't need to look up and down. But yeah,
I'm not having it.
I'll take it if it's
the PC version. I'll take it. But I'm not taking it otherwise.
It's the PC version.
Yeah, fine. Not having it otherwise.
And it is lived on. There's still mods coming out for it now. People are doing new mods for Doom all the time.
There's loads of perverts online, isn't there? You're always up to something. You can't throw that in.
Yeah, that's it. It's Doom. I think it's one.
Yeah.
I can't think of another game that is aged as well and is still creating sort of.
When's the last time you played it?
I played it on my Steam Deck not that long ago, probably about 8 months ago.
I don't count on a Steam Deck, because on a handheld you do all the stuff that you wouldn't bother with usually, wouldn't you? Because you think, well, I'm not playing that on the big telly, because I want to play Horizon or something on a Bravia, on the big telly, because it's otherwise it's a waste. And on the handheld, you go, well, if it's only an handheld, if I have to use a handheld, it's not ideal. I don't want to waste a good game on a handheld, so I'll just play Doom, because that's crap, innit?
Yeah.
I'm not liking this character anymore.
So the fact that last time you played it was on a handheld tells me you don't actually like it that much. You see it as a lesser game than something that you would otherwise play in your big telly. If you'd said I played it on a Bravia, after the footy, etc., you've done yourself in there, Tom.
You've been watching the footy, have you, Bernie? You watching the footy?
Yeah, I don't think you're good. Well, I'm not saying I'm into football, right?
No.
This is not about me, it's about you. I'm just playing to a stereotype, yeah? This has nothing to do with me. Right, Connor.
Yeah.
You're not going next. Bill Cliff, what is the best game that's aged like a fine wine? And if you've picked something crap on the PS3, right? If you've picked the PS3 version of something that was better on another thing, right? Because you've got previous on this, just leave it out. I'm warning you now. Right? Fallout 3 on the bloody PS3, not having it, all right?
Yeah, not old enough. I can see, just from your general demeanour, Bernie, I can tell that you're a man that doesn't like smart asses.
Yeah, I don't like bum lickers neither.
And the first way that I was going to take this was I was thinking like, oh, maybe I can be a bit of a smart ass and say that Sonic and Knuckles on the Sega CD or some bollocks costs like £4,000 these days. So that's literally aged like a fine wine. It's like
wasn't on the Sega CD, was it?
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
one of
no,
these
your
old games that
instinct
cost
is
a
right on
million
that one,
quid or
because if you
whatever.
pulled it, I would have asked you to leave, because I don't think that's within the spirit of the conversation. I think you're pulling a fast one.
Exactly. We're talking about a game that's aged like a fine wine. And if you're bringing up one of those old expensive games, you're talking about the plastic or the disc or whatever that's aged, really, aren't you? It's not. That's not the spirit of the game. That's actually aged like a fine wine.
Yeah, thanks for explaining a very basic, simple fucking concept of the episode, Bill Cliff. Get on with it.
We need to add some entertainment to this.
Tom didn't need to explain it to everyone before he started. He just did it. Bang, bang, bang. Come on, Bill Cliff.
I'll load my 6-shooter up and get banging then. So, just to take issue with Doom again, I think with Doom, it's been reiterated on so many times, it's got so many sequels, that if you were going to go back and play it, you'd think, well, maybe I should play Doom 2, maybe I should play Doom 3 BFG or whatever it's called. And you can kind of say, oh, as a fine wine, really a fine wine if you can just get loads of bottles that were made raw recently that are loads better.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure that's true, is it? Not sure that's true.
Well,
they're not all
so
better.
I've chosen a game that I think when it came out was less revered than maybe it should be, and has now come to be probably the best in its series, and at the very website that we work at has been dubbed the best in its series.
It's better not be a PSP game again.
It's not on the PSP. It's on a similarly cyberpunk handheld, the Game Boy Advance. We're talking about Pokemon Emeralds.
Oh.
Pokemon Emerald was the last and kind of the culmination of Generation 3 of Pokemon, right? Generation 3 was the first to come after the real kind of Pokemania of Pokemon cards and all of that sort of stuff. And so I think it was seen as like just another thing, the kind of more of the same, not really advancing the stuff. However, going back and looking at it now, the graphics are perfect, and it is just like the best and most kind of crystalline distillation of the classic era of Pokemon that is instantly recognizable, loved by so many different people. And hypothetically, you could play, if one could download emulators on iOS these days, one person could say that they could hypothetically play it upon such a device, and Pokemon Emerald would be the main one that people go to because it is that kind of classic distillation of Pokemon. And the best example of that, I think, is that, like Tom mentioned with Doom, there are so many like ROM hacks and extra campaigns that you get for Pokemon Generation 3 specifically, and they're all built on this Generation 3 Pokemon engine of Emerald. You've got Radical Red, you've got Inclement and Emerald, you've got all of these different amazing games, and there are so many massive YouTube communities around people, so many Discord communities about people making and playing these games now. The Generation 3 is the main Pokemon game.
I think Bernie's gone to sleep, actually.
It's the main one that people are still playing today. There'll be hundreds of videos, there'll be Let's Plays, there'll be all sorts of stuff of people playing Generation 3 of Pokemon today. And when it was sort of seen, when it first came out as this kind of just going through the motions, now it's the main one. It's the best one.
Well, so your problem here, right, is that you lost me a while back, but I got as far as crystalline distillation, and I thought he's trying to get 2 puns in one there. I'm not a fan of it. You're trying to be linguistically impressive. I think actually what's happening there is you're just drawing attention to it. You're just drawing attention to it. It's a bit try hard is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah. You're obviously too clever of a man, Bernie. You didn't fall for the gish gallop, and I've got to commend you for that.
The thing is, right, I don't know anything about Pokemon apart from the fact that the bloke in it, they're always drawing with a little bummo, don't they? The little bloke.
Most of them. The ones that are literally rocks don't, but
yeah, the little yellow bloke, the Pikachu.
Yeah.
They never bring it up, but they always draw him with a little bumhole.
It's just hidden.
It's there. It's always there. There's a little bumhole, and I think, well, why is it there if it's not going to become relevant later on? It's like a Chekhov's bum, but it ain't.
So is your point that they shouldn't be there at all, or that because they're bad, they should play a bigger part in the game?
Well, you can't get around the fact that they're naked, yeah?
Right.
Yeah, but why not give him pants?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Right, they don't give him a willy or whatever, right? But they give him an arsehole. I don't agree with it. I think if you're not going to bother giving him anything, don't give him nothing, or give him pants, and we can imagine what he's got under there, right? But don't show us his arsehole all the fucking time. He's never going to use it, is he? You never see him going off for one or whatever. There's children watching that, and they've got to look at a mouse's arsehole.
We've got to learn about it sometime.
Oh, I don't agree with it. All I'm saying is, right, either give him the full toolkit, right, or don't give him nothing, right? Don't give him a little bummer or nothing else, because it's weird. Because you're making me think of his toolkit, but I can't see any of it. It's always freaked me out, and that's why I don't watch it, and I don't let the kids watch it. Very good, Bill Cliff. Right, Connor, what is the best game that has aged like a fine wine?
It's kind of topical. The best game that's aged like wine, Bernie, is Dead Rising. The original. Came out in 2006, which is wild because I remember playing it when I was like a teenager, so that's made me feel really old. But Dead Rising is fantastic, and it's so fantastic, but when they're remaking it now, it's not even a remake, it's a remaster. In the trailer, they're like, people loved it when it came out, it was amazing, it was ahead of its time, and we're just bringing that to now. It's great. First game in the series, never made a game as good as it ever. You know, you'd know this, sometimes when things are made older, they're made better. Things these days just aren't made up to scratch like they used to be, right? Story, still topical, about, city folk eating too much, being too greedy, and, that sort of thing. Still funny, still a bit scary. And one thing I thought about recently is that, it had this amazing feature, right? Where you're not, unless you're really good, you're not meant to beat it on the first playthrough. Your upgrades and character levels carry over. So you're meant to go forward, hit a boss that you can't beat, die, get stuck, not get back to the safe room in time, and Gerard's dead, or he's been shot, or he's in the basement, he's been blown up. And then the story, you get a worse ending, right? And then you're meant to go over again and do another run, right? And you get further because you're stronger. And I'm like, this game has been doing roguelike stuff before that was even a gimmick, before that was even a thing.
They've been around for ages.
Like wine.
This is nonsense. I might as well stop now, Connor. Utter nonsense. This is a modern game. This is a modern game with modern gameplay.
2006.
Doesn't matter. It's from an era that things moved on, right? Things became 360 onwards.
Worse.
It's basically the same era now in terms of gameplay and game
really
design.
Not.
No,
they're
I
very
agree
similar.
with that. I agree with that.
Also, what did you play this on? What did you play this on, Connor?
I played this on the Xbox 360 when it first came out.
Really?
I had my Xbox 360 port for Christmas.
Bet you did
not having it. Not having it. No.
Not having it.
How old were you?
Tom's right. Yeah.
I'm 27 years old.
And this came out, 18 years ago?
Yeah.
When you played it when it came out?
12, yeah. So maybe a month or so after, but yeah.
What's the statute of limitations on supplying age-rated materials to minors?
What's the statute of limitations on my life? I can't talk about the Sega CD.
I'm not having it.
Neither can I.
I'm not having it.
It's
right.
aged so well,
Tom's
but
right.
they never made it better, and it's
modern
coming back
game.
now.
Modern game.
And it's
Listen,
not modern.
I'm going to mute his microphone, right? Listen, right? I'm telling you, Tom's correct, right? Because pop culture, etc., gaming especially, stopped in 2006. And we've been on a loop ever since, because all the latest games are what Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Assassin's Creed, fucking basically Oblivion, but it's got spaceships. It all happened in 2006. So he's right. You can unmute yourself now, Connor, because I can't do it. I've just realised.
Okay.
Right.
But so you like Oblivion, yeah?
Yeah.
The greatest game of all time.
I don't like it, but I can
Okay,
appreciate
what game from
it.
2006 do you love from that sort of era that you think hasn't really evolved much?
What came out in 2006? It was the blokes that done Goldeneye, but it was about a woman.
Perfect Dark.
No, not perfect. It was like you had all the elements, and you attack people with the elements like water and fire and all that.
I mean, I think we all know, right? But I'm not saying it because you know what it is. You're just playing this game.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if I knew what it was. I'd say.
Yes, you do. You do know.
I don't know what it is.
It's by the. It's on the tip of my tongue.
You clearly just Googled it and you know what it is. Just say it.
No, I didn't Google it. I remembered it, and I can't remember the name, Tom. I wish I was
using
joking.
elements. God.
Cameo, Elements of Power. That was it, right? Cameo.
Yeah.
Was that 2006 or 2005?
It was a launch,
the first time I've heard of the game.
Right? It was a launch game for the 360. I assume you'd have had that, Connor.
Yeah, see,
as a launch, someone had a launch Xbox 360.
They wouldn't make that today, right? Because today that would be busted and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you were fond of it back then, it came out back then. They wouldn't have made it now, right? But it's good now, I'm sure, to some people. The point
a woman shooting people with elements just sounds like Control. Is that not just the same game?
Exactly. It was
Cameo and Control are super
It was
similar.
proven great over time. Here's what I'm saying. They've never made a Dead Rising better than that one. Ever. Ever. And it's still the most replayed one today by fans of the series.
I prefer 3, to be honest. I prefer playing 3.
Was nearly as good. 3 is for morons.
I liked it.
But
I
2
know,
is...
Connor, that you tried to sort of invoke the fact that George Romero, bloke with glasses, sort of is meant to be a sort of commentary on rampant consumerism.
Yeah.
And he was making this point back in the 70s, and it's still relevant. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But what I don't like about it, and I'll be blunt, it's greedy, isn't it? It's greedy for Capcom to have one big zombie thing and then have another one.
Oh, you mean, you were referring to Resident Evil?
I think you're allowed one zombie thing, yeah? If you got one zombie thing, and that's your thing, and if you want to do another zombie thing, you could just
change to Resident Evil now. Resident Evil could win, actually.
No, I would like Dead Rising more. If you go down the pub, right, they don't just have one good beer on tap.
That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Because you can have multiple good things that are similar. If people want it, they want it, right?
Yeah, but you don't go down a pub and they haven't got Thatcher's Haze and Thatcher's Katie, have they?
Depends on the pub.
They haven't got Thatcher's Haze and Thatcher's Katie and fucking Strongbow and all the rest of it, right?
No, but they have like multiple ciders, multiple fucking
I don't like this pub analogy because I don't agree with it. Right?
Okay.
Dead Rising, yeah, it's fine, and it is the best one out of the lot. You are right, but that's because after the first one there was a really big drop off. And they made a lot of crap ones, yeah. And also, I still want to stick with the point that Capcom's done enough zombie stuff without needing this other thing.
You've got to feel for the original devs, right? Because there's a really good Japanese team who made it, and then here come the Americans, right, taking their jobs, making it worse, and see what happens. It's just not as good. So you should really support the original Capcom team.
Also, I don't like it because when you shoot a gun, you've got to aim with the wrong stick. I don't like that.
You do have to aim with the wrong... Yeah.
You do. You got to aim with the wrong stick. And they say it's because they want the act of firing a gun to be unfamiliar because, Frank West is he's a journalist, isn't he? He's not a special forces man.
Yeah, he's just an old guy.
He's not a bloke who would be au fait with the mechanics of shooting a gun. I think that's bollocks because as a person playing a video game, I don't really want to feel like I'm powerless against a horde of zombies when I've got a gun. I just want to be able to shoot people.
Yeah, how come you can swing a katana really well and not shoot a gun?
Yeah, well, swinging a sword about is a piece of piss, isn't it? Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
But, shooting a gun's a little bit more involved, but... He's a journalist in America, so, he probably owns several guns. Do you know what I mean? I think it's very naive, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, you're right.
So I've got to think of something now. I've got to press this button.
Bum guffs.
No, that's the wrong one. Right. So we've got
That knocked my contact lenses out.
we've got
Jesus.
3 games that have you're all claiming a range like a fine wine, and the first one is Doom, PC version of Doom, not accepting any other versions of Doom. Certainly not accepting the PlayStation version, Tom. And Dead Rising, the original Dead Rising on the 360. Good game, that. Good game, that, Connor. Don't think it's aged very well because you've got to use the wrong stick to shoot a gun. And I bet you that's the first thing they change in the new one. And if they keep it, I ain't buying it. So it's up to them. And James, what was your one again? I've forgotten.
Pokemon Emerald.
Pokemon Emerald. Well, I can't be bothered with that. I think I don't know anything about Pokemon, so I'm just going to leave it there. Yeah. I don't think Dead Rising's aged very well. In the same way that I don't think, Connor, that Dawn of the Dead has aged badly. Yeah,
it's aged really, really well. It's like one of those classic.
It's aged terribly. Dawn of the Dead, the original. I'm not talking about the one with Ving Rhames because that was That was wank.
Yeah, that was wank. Yeah.
Zack Snyder doesn't know what he's doing. His career's not going to go anywhere with that sort of lack of talent. But we'll let that go. Dawn of the Dead, 1978. Yeah. But it's set in a shopping centre. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been to plenty of shopping centres, and none of them look like that.
No, it was based on.
I never went to a shopping centre in 1978.
Yeah.
So it hasn't aged very well because shops just don't look like that anymore. And people don't look like that anymore.
It was also shot at night, even though it's not set at night. So all of the lighting looks weird.
Yeah, it's crap, isn't it? But basically it's bad. It's I mean, God rest him, but he didn't make very many good films, did he? Funnily enough, the best thing he made was the advert for Resident Evil 2. And the reason that's his best film is because it was only about 2 minutes long. So it was over quickly. Tom, I think you've won with Doom, mate.
Thanks.
What?
I think Tom's won with Doom.
We smashed that. We completely smashed that to
We
pieces.
both destroyed it. It
Yeah,
aged like
you
piss.
can say what you want, doesn't mean you win.
It looks
it's
like
a bit-
shit. It's had so many
it looks
sequels that you would never pick the original.
Nah, it looks great.
The first one
It doesn't look
is
great.
like really slow, runs on a fucking toothbrush.
He went through all that. He pointed out that there's a modern movement called Boomer Shooter that takes the art style of the original Doom and makes it and turns it modern, right?
But it's not
You've got
even
modern
that
games
one.
being made
But it's
within
not even that
Specifically
one.
Doom 3. It's the PS1 graphics that have come
It's not
back
even
in
the
the
game
Boomer
that you're
Shooter
talking
stuff.
about.
Doom 3 wasn't on a PS1.
Doom
You
3
twat.
You know what
No.
I mean.
He's
no.
wrong.
I think
The
you just
original
need to-
Doom
yeah.
was on a PS1. That's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
We had a whole conversation about it.
You know what I mean.
Doom 3 was on a bloody Xbox and all that.
Yeah,
And it was
that's what I
crap.
meant. The original Xbox.
Yeah,
Can't-
well,
you can't
Doom
win.
I
on
know there's no
PS1.
point, but I'm still going to get angry about it because
Yeah, no,
it's
it's
just
Doom on
outrageous.
the
wrong, isn't
PS1,
it?
classic
It's outrageous.
32-bit game. It was a classic 32-bit game, the 32-bit era. You could play it on a PS1 pad. He did have a point, to be fair, because you
I
couldn't look up and
also
down.
brought a 32-bit game that millions of people are playing right now.
Right now.
That is like a legitimately hot game that people are actually playing, the actual game.
Yeah, but I don't
Not
rate it.
just like some curio that can run on a Hoover.
Doom is not a curio. Anyway,
It is.
let's
It's a
move
relic
on.
The
of all
original
fucking
is-
losers.
It's one of
We
the,
need to move on.
Doom is one of the greatest games ever made, and it's
Yeah, at the time, it inspired.
no,
lots
that's
of
not what
things.
ever made means, Connor. Right?
Yeah,
It's
but
one of
you're
the greatest-
wrong. You're
One
wrong.
one of the greatest games ever made. Right? People can play modern versions of it that run beautifully.
If you're drinking a wine, you're not like, this was brilliant in 1990 as the vinegar stings my eyes, are you? You're
No.
looking for a wine that's nice now and better than it was then. The original Doom is not better now
It's the
than it
opposite.
was then.
Yeah,
It
it's
was.
the opposite.
Pokemon
It
is
is
better
better
now, more revered
It
than
is
it was
better now.
then.
And the original
It's
Doom
not.
is better now because it's better than its modern contemporaries. Because
But Dead
modern-
Rising isn't, even though it's better than its modern contemporaries.
modern
You're
contemporaries
fucking
of
Don't
joker.
that.
sully this argument by
because
bringing the
what
Dead
they've
Rising
done,
into it.
what your Call of Duties,
No.
right? Your Call of Duties, all that stuff. What they've done, your Halos, yeah, all that stuff, right? What they've done is they've diluted the beautiful simplicity of the original Doom, yeah, which was shooting a gun and something exploding into a million bits, a million bloody gory beautiful bits, right? and all the first-person shooters after that took too long to get to that point, and there was all this bollocks, cutscenes and all that, right? Narratives about the state of the Middle East and all that stuff, right? No, you don't want any of that.
It's not even the best one of
you
those.
You just want to shoot a barrel and watch a barrel explode.
If you pick Wolfenstein, I'm here.
Let's move on. We need to talk
I'm gonna be sick.
Let's talk about what's happening next, which is if you want to get more,
well,
you can
Tom,
pay,
if you want
right?
to do all that.
You can pay to get more, which would be interesting this week because presumably Bernie is going to pick a game, and we're going to discuss that for about 10 minutes probably. So yeah, if you want to pay £3 a month or $3 or whatever it is, go to vg247.com, click on support us in the corner, and go through all that business, and then you'll get directed to a page that has links on it and stuff. But yeah, I mean, who knows what's going to happen this week based on that.
I think that's a good deal. We're cutting our own throats, aren't we? Right. If you are not a paid subscriber, this is the point where we say goodbye to you, unfortunately. I'm very sorry about that. But if you are a paid subscriber, this is essentially what you're paying for. You mug.
That was the worst decision you've made since Kelsey wanted that fucking mod.